So showing us the way is Sam Butler, who is the Marketing Operations Director for EU at Audible. Please welcome Sam to the stage.
Hi, everyone. And thank you for being here today to take your time out and listen to me talk to you. I am Sam. I'm from Audible, which is an audiobook subscription company, which is itself a part of a slightly larger company called Amazon. And I'm going to be talking to you today about some of our early journey learnings in scaling up our marketing efforts, both generally within our operations team and also using Movable Inc. But first, before I get into that, I'd actually love to start by diving straight in and showing you some examples of campaigns that we are particularly proud of here at Audible. So, firstly, I, along with seemingly everyone else here today, has a year-end summary campaign to share with you. We're super proud of this because it uses various data sets to provide a really rich overview of customer listening. Each year we try and up the ante, and last year we almost doubled the number of data sets that we used compared to the year before. So technologically, it's quite like an impressive feat for us, but more importantly, it's important to us because it's important to our customers. And we hear this through social and through feedback from customer services, that people want to know what their year in review looked like. Hopefully, there are some Audible listeners out here today. And you may well then be familiar with the fact that if you listen to something in March or let alone January, you've probably forgotten what it was by the time you get to the end of the year. And it's interesting to get that view back as to how your listening habits have changed over the course of a year, giving you inspiration for your next listen. So we bring in the shortest listen all the way to the longest listen, what months you listened in most, and what genres you've listened to over the course of a year to give that really rich experience. Next, we've got a more traditional one-off test. Here we're testing push notification. We've got our BAU at the top, which is a kind of generic, please keep listening message. We're testing that with something powered by Movable, which brings in both the title of the book as well as the cover art, which makes it feel a lot more tangible for something that's digital. That, along with how many minutes you've got left to listen and your progress, it just makes it a lot more engaging, and that's probably why we saw an 11% uplift in click-through rate compared to the control there. Lastly, and this isn't in an email, because these web prop elements could be pulled into any one of our BAU emails, here we're able to take whatever is popular on our site, or within a genre, or even a subgenre, and display that at any point to any customer based on what we think will be of interest to them. And I really like this one because I think it's emblematic of our general approach with Movable at Audible, which is to combine efficiency and personalization at scale. So 3 super interesting campaigns, and it would be great for you to hear today about how they were set up, get more details on other campaigns like them. Unfortunately for you, I had absolutely nothing to do with any of these campaigns, but they were instead led by our US team and launched to our US customers. What I'm going to talk to you about instead is things that we learned during our journey of scaling up in the EU about how to find our own path, where to take inspiration, and where not to get distracted in the face of overwhelming amounts of inspiration. Because whether it's an ever-growingly impressive year-end summary email that falls in your inbox at the end of the year, or something that a colleague says that you should do in your marketing team somewhere in your company, or something you see on LinkedIn at a different company, or indeed any of the dozens of amazing ideas that have already been shared today at this summit, you might be feeling a little bit like this. Like there's a mountain ahead, the summit of which is better email engagement, increased automation, the guiding light of where you should be at in terms of marketing. And everyone's either already there or they're further ahead. They've all got their own approach, their own ideas of how they should get there, their own gear, their own tools, and you'll be looking at them, trying to take examples, wondering what route is going to get you to the top, and which is going to lead you astray. And as someone who's gone through this journey, or more accurately to say is still going through this, I have 3 pieces of advice, one from both successes and we'll call them challenges, in our process of scaling up MOPS and Movable Inc. That I hope will be of use to you. But first, a little bit of context. So, as I said, my name is Sam, and I'm the Director of EU Marketing Operations at Audible, and have been for about the last year. was originally based in London and moved to Berlin to help scale up this new team. There I am at the start of my journey from Marble Arch to Brandenburg Gate. Very realistic, I'm sure you'll all agree. Movable did ask if I needed any support in professionalizing the PowerPoint or doing any design work, but I said don't worry about it. Armed with PowerPoint animations and a Canva Pro subscription trial, I felt like I was fully prepared to do this. So in the time since this remarkably short journey, we've been building our capabilities, our knowledge, our processes to be able to support our marketing teams across Germany, France, Italy, Spain, and the UK, across customer segments ranging from very tenured to brand new trialists, to people that aren't members at all, prospects and formers. And within those different countries, we also have different membership types. What someone gets in the UK is not what they get in Italy. So all of these layers of complexity compound. And in the long run, we definitely see Movable Inc. as our route to cutting through some of that complexity. But when you're adding net new functionality, that in itself also creates an additional layer that you need to consider. The good news here is that we had inspiration, right? We had examples to follow, the 3 that I showed you earlier from the US. The bad news is that we had probably a little bit too much inspiration. The more examples of what you could do there are, the more confusion there might be around what route is the right route for you. What's going to lead you to the summit? What's going to lead you astray? Where to begin? Would something in the US work in Germany? Would a retail campaign work for our subscription model business? I'm sure you all have these similar questions as well. So how to choose a path? When you're choosing a path, some of these questions will sound familiar. Do you concentrate on efficiency or do like a really interesting, creative campaign to really get eyeballs on your brand? Do you go for something that is brand new or an iterative improvement? Might be a bit safer, but maybe the gains will be more marginal. What paths are even open to you? Some may be super inviting when you first look at them. All right, smooth, straightforward, paved, hopefully no speed bumps, going to take you right to the summit. But you won't be able to see initially what is around the corner or over that horizon. Looks like it's a little bit more complicated than you might have hoped for. Some options might be, once you get into them, have a bit more back and forth. There might be a few roads that are blocked off to you that you can't even get through. So I'd encourage you not to rush this step. Understanding where you are, choosing what destination is important to you and your customer, and then trying to envisage how to close that gap. It's impossible to predict the future, but there are tools you can do to try and prepare yourself better for anything unexpected that might happen. At Amazon, we have a process of working backwards. So once you understand your point A and your point B, think about what does reality have to look like immediately before you achieve what you envisage to be able to make that happen. Do that again and keep working back until you have a plan that you think, this should allow me to get to where I need to be. As tempting as it can be to race to the finished article, something like this, it is definitely better to plan things out first and prepare for any uncertainty. This example from the US, is this what we want our point B, our future, to look like? For the UK, creatively, yeah, this works. Technologically, there might be a few issues, which I'll get into in a bit. But creatively, for Italy and Spain, this doesn't work for us. It doesn't match our membership segments or the type of benefits that customers get. So definitely take inspiration, but don't trade relevancy for ease. Understanding your point A, definitely do an audit. This is something we've done a few times, and we've done one recently. What hits the mark, what doesn't hit the mark, try and remove that if you can, and what is missing altogether. Focus on some key KPIs to you, but try and keep it to a minimum. This is because you also want to combine this with some more qualitative, holistic data. And when you do that, if you have too many KPIs, a long list of them, it might end up becoming a little bit overwhelming. So how do you do this? Walk the store sessions can be great for this. We've done a few of these. It will give you a good idea of what you've currently got live, but also, importantly, it will start fleshing out that point B. What should you be aiming towards? Beyond that, getting feedback from customer services as to what people are saying, or directly member surveys to give you an idea of where you should be headed. Of course, another good resource for this is your Movable Inc. team. We, at the beginning of the year, had a what we thought was a pretty long list of things that we wanted to do. Chatting to the Movable team made that long list a little bit longer, but they also helped find what things we should be doing and what ones should be our priorities, giving us a focus point. Finally, and I cannot overstate this enough, understand if your point B is even possible. This might sound overly simplistic, but it's actually so simple that it's an easy step to skip. Trust me, you'll save a lot of time and energy if you spend time at the beginning understanding if what you want to do is possible, if you've got the data you need, if there's any technical limitations. Ask yourself, your team, the team at Movable Inc., probing questions. What data do you need to accomplish what you envisage? Do you have that data? Does it get passed to Movable? If not, how do you get it there? And then what trade-offs do you have to make in terms of timeliness or relevancy? And then reevaluate based on that reality, not on what you really want to be true. To summarize, to give your projects the best chance of delivering what you need them to and what your customer wants, understand where you are now, your point A, your point B, and try and plan for the journey in between. We had a request to localize a campaign, the one I showed you earlier, from the US to the UK, Germany, and France. We have the previous campaign. We have that example. It's sending every day. We can see that to our US customers. We have the US expertise on their side. They've done it before. We have our own great team who get even more competent and confident with Movable Inc. with every day. And we also have the Movable Inc. team for support. It's definitely what I was expecting. Should all be fine. Nice paved road all the way to the summit. But I couldn't quite see ahead. And you probably guessed it, it was a bit more complicated. Some tech difficulties and some marketplace differences meant that we took what I would call the scenic route to the top. Had we known this, would we have still gone down this path? Probably. But maybe we could have been better prepared for what to expect or how to better adapt to changes. This is all to say that once you know where you're headed, where you're coming from, you actually need to walk the path. But how to keep to it and how to keep moving at pace. In the last 2 quarters, our team has upscaled massively, which has been amazing to see. We're now supporting hundreds of campaigns in that time frame, some of the most important of which are using Movable Inc. And using Movable Inc. or really creating any new campaigns for new teams that are net new can add more complexity. And this has been a challenge. Something we've realized is that having a separate project management solution for these things that we can mark out early on, and it is key to do it early on, and then send it down a different route, as demonstrated by that very simple flowchart, gives you the opportunity to be more prepared when you're already working on something. You size it differently. You have different subtasks or automations. You have different meetings or status calls, giving the project the attention that it deserves, given that it's something separate to what your BAU is. You can add workflow addendums to this as well, and again, try and automate these, starting on early from the data audit to risk analysis that can go on throughout. Expert check-ins really helped us moving through some of those difficult projects I mentioned. For people that aren't working on it, get their opinion in on a regular basis. And one that I haven't put here is also have a plan for if you don't have that technical requirement, like be prepared for how to pivot to make it a manual kind of scrappy workaround that might help you make a case for a tech solution further down the road. This might all seem like a little bit much in terms of having multiple project management solutions for your campaigns, but in the long run, it will be a time saver. And when the unexpected happens, what it means is that if you take some of these approaches, you'll be well positioned to pivot and move to problem solve quickly, and where a solution to a problem is not forthcoming, you'll be able to find an alternative, as our team did amazingly. So with some hindsight, I do wish we'd done this earlier, and when you do this with your Movable Inc. team, you will get to your destination faster. Which brings us to breaking up the journey. Whether it's a nice, smooth journey, or like us, you end up taking the scenic route, the journey will end, and then you'll be straight away planning and rolling into the next one, right? Not taking time for a breather. But I would encourage you to take a break, get a bird's eye view, get that longer-term projection. Like, think about what you've just done, the successes you've had or the challenges you've encountered. Reconsider your timeline, what's working and what isn't working. I'm a bit of an overthinker naturally, so I tend to naturally do this by myself, but the best advice I could give you and me is to do this with other people. People that are either familiar with what you're doing, marketing and Movable, or people that aren't. Just get that third-party perspective. It will ground you, pull you out of the weeds of what you're doing, and help you keep that long-term focus. If you do want to do this with someone that understands Movable Ink, of course, the Movable Ink team are excellent for that and have supported us a lot, for which I'm very grateful. So my advice to keep this in the long term without it being super onerous is to kind of keep this very simplistic approach, like having multiple infrequent meetings with different audiences, ideally with some Movable Ink experts, 1, 2, or however many, running throughout them. This way, whether it's weekly, fortnightly, monthly, quarterly, you've got a different audience, you've got a different purpose, but you have a consistent focus on both the short term as problems that you might be having or projects that you're working on, as well as long-term planning. And lastly, don't forget to resize as you go. We work with t-shirt sizes, so I mean this in quite a literal sense at the moment in terms of changing how you plan for something. But I also mean that with everything I've just said. Like, you can change your approach to any of these solutions where you feel like it's a bit too onerous, take some out. Where you think it's a bit light, put some in. And this feeds back into point 1. And what you'll end up doing here is driving a flywheel, hopefully improving and iterating on this with every point B that you get to before you start out on the next one. So in short, and to keep this mountain metaphor going a lot longer than it deserves to, take time to enjoy the view. Not only do you and your teams deserve it from all the hard work, but also you might learn more about where you're headed next. And what does this point look like for Audible EU? So I'm going to finish this presentation by doing exactly what I complained about at the beginning and going through some inspirational examples to overload you all with today. It's hypocritical, I know, but we'll call this me enjoying the view from where I am. And if nothing else, it means I get to talk about the amazing work that our Audible teams have done. So this UK-led project delivers a quarterly listening summary email, which, as you might be able to guess, feeds into the year-end summary listening, so it creates a very nice journey over the course of the year. It's new to the UK this year. It looks amazing despite my awful cropping of it there. And they had some really interesting learnings that we're hoping to apply to Germany, France, and beyond. We also worked on a series of journeys. This is one email from one of them that focuses on engaging early, so with a pre-order. This particular one utilizing either author interest or series interest to deliver a timely, relevant message to a customer. And this one, as you can see here, we keep it very simple and focused on the particular title. And this one drove a 5% lift on pre-order sales for us, which was just one of a wider journey. And this one is just launching now, so I've got no indication of uplift yet, but I'm super excited to be able to say that we've got a version of the credit summary email going live. You might recognize this from earlier, the slightly problematic one. And I'm just super proud that our team has got this live. It looks amazing. The region just underneath the banner delivers some really interesting information to the customer that is useful to their membership and make sure they're making the most out of their time with Audible. And also opens the door for more testing, bringing in certain elements to other campaigns in the future. So couldn't be happier that one is live. So here we are, here I am, literally and figuratively taking in the view at Germany, reevaluating if what we do aligns with our business goals and our customer needs, learning how to be better prepared for the path ahead. And we're super excited about that and what 2024 looks like. I'm also failing my own advice slightly. Like, there's been loads of great talks today, and the long list for 2024 has gotten a little bit longer. So, I mean, as the saying goes, do as I say and not as I do. I hope you can keep to my advice better than I do sometimes. But I hope this overview of how we've gone about managing complexity and multiple projects whilst being overloaded with different routes and inspiration to go down gives you some support and help for how you can continue to grow and scale up your marketing efforts generally and with Movable. Thank you very much.